No one tells you that if you get a PlayStation Portal, once you get home with this thing, it becomes an absolute nightmare. PlayStation's own streaming app, their streaming tech, their streaming infrastructure sucks ass.
Fight!
This thing is barely what I thought it was going to be, considering the way people talk about this online as some miracle machine to be able to solve the constant stuttering remote play problem that has dogged many a console across the recent years, across the recent push for the gaming industry to move into streaming devices. But no, get a PS Portal. They said it'll stream everything immediately. They said it uses one of Sony's own immaculate streaming things to mean that you don't have to have a drop-in connection. It'll maintain an HD signal. It's a 1080p screen, etc. etc. No one tells you that if you get a PlayStation Portal, this ridiculous looking, can I show how weird the build is, thing, that once you get home with this thing, it becomes an absolute nightmare of connectivity issues and troubleshooting and all the things that you would associate with when a bit of tech goes wrong and all of a sudden you're stuck in forum threads from 10 years ago trying to Google a specific thing just to try and get a stable connection for the thing, for the device that you bought that you thought would let you stream Ghost of Yotei on the couch or whatever. I just wanted to make this video to literally say that I bought a PlayStation Portal. I tried to get it working. I did get it working. I played some HD games. I was like, maybe this is going to be cool. The resolution dipped. I got a network error over and over and over again for the entire night, and I'm going to be returning it all within 24 hours. It is not worth it. And the more you delve into PlayStation Portal, you look on the Reddit threads, you look on general responses on comment threads and everything else, the mixed response that this has once you actually start looking into it, where for whatever reason I feel like it's the general go-to is, it's a great piece of kit and it's sold more than Sony expected it to. We'll get back to that. There's a reason that I would say that they didn't expect it to sell very well, because it's a cobbled together MacGyver prototype for one thing. But the general conversation around the PS Portal is that, like I said, it's a miracle device. It just works. There's no lag, there's no latency, the resolution's really high, etc. And instead it becomes an absolute nightmare of trying to follow all these different people's recommendations of what you should do to get your PlayStation Portal working, with the caveat or the shared knowledge, which you always get whenever you talk to a PC gamer. They're always, Windows kind of sucks. You have to move all these other sliders around. The problem might be the cache folder. Go 5 layers deep into your folders inside your computer and you'll be able to find the one thing you have to delete that the computer was wrongly pulling into the wrong process. I hate all that stuff, and that's what this is. And so in trying to get it to just work, it became this, realizing that quite a lot of PlayStation Portal users are quite happy going into their PlayStation 5 settings and changing the console's resolution to match 1080p, because apparently this thing can't, or the PlayStation 5 or however Sony have set it up, if you've got your console set to 4K, like I've got a nice lovely LG TV downstairs, if you've got it set to the 4Ks and you try and connect with this thing, the PS5 or this PS Portal or whatever cannot compute the fact that it's outputting to 4K and 1080p, because obviously the display is still on while you're doing remote play, but you're trying to play this in a lower resolution. And a lot of the responses online are just like, well, hey, it's no big deal, just change the resolution on your system. I'm not going to do that every single time I have to use the PlayStation Portal. The whole point is just pick it up and use the damn thing. And so no, that sucks. I can't believe that just doesn't work. I'll also clarify at this point in the video that I'm not having a go at anyone who is suggesting how to get this thing working. I am having a go squarely, circle, triangle, and X at PlayStation, because it is ludicrous that this thing was released in such a stupid, temperamental, early access state just to see what they could get away with and improve it later. Again, we'll talk about it in a bit. But the other things that seem to be quite commonplace for getting the PlayStation Portal working is removing the HDMI from the back of the PlayStation 5, because again, that means that the PS5 isn't worrying about outputting a signal through the back cable and it can just go straight to this instead. Ridiculous, ludicrous. I'm not going to do that every time that I'm going to try and play something remotely. I'll also throw in, while I'm on the old high horse, that PlayStation's own streaming app, their streaming tech, their streaming infrastructure sucks ass. And if you've done remote play before, which I have a GameSir G7 or G9 or whatever it's called, as well as I used to have a Backbone. I've streamed stuff to my Mac before, and to my phone and everything. A lot of people, again, it's one of those things that you don't find out until you start going searching around the forums, that PlayStation's own first-party streaming app kind of sucks. And a lot of people use a third-party version called PX Play, which is way better. It can open up, I don't even know the terms, it can open up all the various terminologies, the bandwidths or whatever it is, to get a way more stable connection in a way that PlayStation's own one can't. And if you're doing remote play stuff, it's best to use PX Play and not Sony's own app thing, which isn't an option when you're on this. And so it just became this complete nightmare of a back and forth with the idea of what this is supposed to be versus the reality of getting stuck in forums, troubleshooting, changing your console's resolutions, watching the screen go from HD 1080p down to 720, drop into 480 or whatever it is, and then having to reconnect. That was another thing I kept seeing people say, oh, just disconnect and reconnect. I'm not, who's doing that? Who is reconnecting over and over and over again during a gaming session? I want the best possible experience. If I can't get on the TV, I want to be able to pick this up and continue where I left off. The idea being, and you can tell this is what the idea was from the beginning, let's just do what the Switch does, on the Sony side, which is what they always do. I've had every PlayStation console, I've had every single PlayStation piece of hardware over the years, and they always just, they either look at the competition and they go, hey, we can do a version of that, let's do PSVR. VR's a thing, let's do that. Achievements are a thing, we'll do trophies. They always just do, motion controls are a thing, we'll do PS Move. That is their bread and butter. And for the most part, they managed to make it work, but the prototype phase of quite a lot of these products is incredibly obvious. One of them being the PSVR to the PSVR 2, where it was let's just gather up the PlayStation Move controllers from the past generation and just pretend that they are VR capable ones. The leap between PSVR 1 to 2 is very much a prototype phase to an actual product. And I feel like it's the case with the PS Portal and the PlayStation 5 Pro. According to, it's interesting looking at, and I'll get back to this mess in a minute, but going on the YouTuber Moore is Dead, they did a report on the idea that the PlayStation 6 and the next Xbox Magnus, is going to be going into production in 2027. Part of that podcast is discussing, the way that Sony approach their technology. They have all this bespoke technology, all these different innards and computational systems, all these things that take a lot of time to bring together, and they go through a lot of prototyping phases. And the way that Moore's Law is Dead was talking about the way that they released the PlayStation 5 Pro, that seemed, in my interpretation of that thing, seemed like that was just, they were on the way to the PlayStation 6, and it was like, we might as well release this. Let's just see what happens. Let's just see what we can do with it, which I would say explains everything with the PSSR, the auto upscaling technology that's in there, the software-based upscaling, which then took months and months and months to even run basic games very well. It was a whole thing. It took a long time for the PlayStation 5 Pro to be worth the money, and even today you are paying hundreds of pounds or dollars more just for a better, more stable frame rate or resolution or whatever it is, and it feels like the same thing with this. The build quality on this, what the living hell is this design? This stretched out, feels like they just hammered the hell out of a DualSense and stretched the back of it all the way out. Feels horrible to hold. What is this? Just horrible. You slice a DualSense in half, Raiden from Metal Gear Revengeance style, and then you just bang a tablet right in the middle of it and call it a day. Look outside my window. And once you pick it up, it feels horrible. Oh, it has the haptic controls and it feels really good. I disagree. The analog sticks are really noodly and small. The button layout kind of sucks. All the volume controls stretched back here for your fingers. Just overall, a bad experience, and one that I think Sony are fully aware of, considering that, like I said earlier on, they are the ones getting out there going well, it's sold a hell of a lot better than we thought. And it's yeah, because it's an in-progress thing. It's not a coincidence that the PlayStation 6 ongoing rumors are that it's going to release as a combo. It'll be a console and a hybrid handheld device. Again, trying to get in on the Switch hype. But this is very much on the way to whatever the actual handheld PlayStation will be. And I couldn't believe how much of a mess it was. The actual connectivity to the system was really straightforward. You boot this thing up, it gives you a QR code. If you're already signed in on the PlayStation app, you can scan that, you can beam in, sweet. But after that, playing the games, resolution all over the place, the network connectivity icon popping up left, right, and center. I was just on the PlayStation Portal Reddit last night looking at people's responses, and I literally saw someone saying that symbol is the bane of their life. I just feel like it's this weird, the reality of getting the system is so different to the way that it's advertised and talked about online, where it's discussed as, don't worry about third-party remote play apps, don't play on your phone, get yourself a PlayStation Portal, that'll solve everything. It absolutely does not, and this thing, besides going in the bin, is going straight back to the store. Don't think I said my name, to be honest. Scott Tailford, hello, welcome to the channel. I have all sorts of usually positive stuff on here, whether it be news things or the weekly Just Good Game show, a feel-good, positive show. We do the Just Good Game news. There are gameplay chunks of stuff that I put out. So usually, I'm not on the soapbox, but this thing just ticked me off and taps into that part of modern day technological living where, like I said, you get stuck in forums. It's just the technology doesn't just work and you have to go off and Google stuff and, oh God, I hate it. I hate that. I don't hate this. This is just annoying. But I hate that something can't just work.